Everybody, we'll give it just a couple more minutes for a few more to join us, and then we'll get started. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining today's Career Services Workshop. My name is Ashley Miller. I'm the Career Services Specialist for Nightingale College. And this fantastic presentation we're about to hear is going to help us develop and elevate our LinkedIn profiles, which I know that I personally am excited to get more information about and to improve mine. Today's presenter is Derek Thompson. He's the Senior Manager of Talent Acquisition here at Nightingale College. We are going to have some question and answer segments throughout the presentation as well as at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to Derek.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Ashley. I appreciate the time to be able to connect with each of you on this. I'm very passionate about LinkedIn. And so this is really a good opportunity, I think, for those of you. In fact, before I jump into the presentation, I just want to try to see everybody. Who here already has a LinkedIn profile? By raise a hand. There we go. There's some hands coming. All right, cool. All right. Fair enough. So I'm assuming some of you are somewhat familiar with LinkedIn. And if you're like me, like I've tapped into a lot of its potential, but there's always more you can do with LinkedIn. And as we look to develop our careers early on, midstream, or even later on, there's just an awesome opportunity to really take it full advantage of the platform. So let me just pull up some objectives that I wanted to cover with you today. And I definitely encourage um, discussion. So we'll probably have some spots where we'll chat, and I'll do my best to keep that conversation going. But we also have a lot of content to go through, I think, this being our first workshop. So anyhow, here are the objectives. Why LinkedIn? What can I do? We'll take a peek at some profiles. Kind of getting started with LinkedIn. We won't spend a lot of time on that, but Ashley will drop in some links that you can follow up on after this call. And we'll talk about what an optimized profile looks like. You'll see some optimized sections from different profiles when we take a peek. And then we'll talk about, why build your network. And I think some of that's obvious, but we'll discuss nevertheless. So first off, why LinkedIn? It is the actual leading platform for business professionals. There's really nothing else that compares to LinkedIn right now. So this is definitely a reason to get on board with LinkedIn if you haven't. Throughout my career, I've known of some people that they've been at a job for many years, and they still network, but they just haven't found the desire or the need to really get on LinkedIn. But when push comes to shove, they usually eventually join, from what I've seen in my experience. So my recommendation is you might as well join if you haven't already. And I think you might surprise yourself and have fun with it. All right, any guess on how many members on LinkedIn? So please unmute and fire away at some guesses. I just want to see how close we are to this. Anybody want to share vocally? That's okay. We got a shy group. So,
I was going to
No,
go
I
with
think
at
we got
least
someone.
two.
oh, how many, Ashley?
At least two.
Two.
Well, at least two people, probably close to 2 million.
Okay. Okay. Think bigger.
Bigger, 2 billion?
850 million. Isn't that staggering? I think that's quite impressive. And how many countries would you say that are on board with LinkedIn? 200 plus. So I'll just give you guys that. So anyhow, great platform. And it is definitely the go-to resource for job seekers, industry experts, and companies. Okay. What can I do with LinkedIn? Any guesses? If you were to summarize what you do on LinkedIn, how would you define that with 3 words? Or 4 words or whatever. Anybody want to chime in? Feel free to speak up. I'll give you the first one. Connect. Obviously, pretty obvious, right? Collaborate. We like that word, right? The Nightingale, we love that word. So, and then grow your network. So those are the 3 awesome things that we can do with LinkedIn to summarize it. Okay. Let's take a peek at some profiles. Let me just see how I get out of that. There we go. So first profile we'll take a look at. Dina Hill recently joined us. And as you scroll, you'll notice Dina has already added a banner. So super proud, very excited when we get new collaborators that jump right in, grab our brand for Nightingale College. And so we recognize learners with us. Some of you are working, right? And so you may or may not have that opportunity to embrace your company brand depending on what the human resources or marketing department has provided you. But I encourage it. I think it adds an element of professionalism. I've seen some other profiles where the employees do their own banner, and that's okay as well. And we'll get into more detail on what makes a great profile later. But as you scroll down, you can see Dina's got 311 connections, has already taken the time to connect with people at Nightingale. If I click on this, I can see that Dina and I have 8 mutual connections already. So that's kind of cool. As you create your profile, you'll see how you might know somebody that just, wow, you've got one mutual connection, and that one mutual connection could make a huge difference in your career. You just don't know. As I scroll down to posts, Dina also did a post recently in the past couple days. So we'll take a look at that. So Dina chose to get involved and to just say, hey, thanks to Nightingale Education Group for welcoming me into my new position as an assistant professor at didactic, and then also talks about career opportunities. So with your current employer, if you're working somewhere right now, your employer would probably love that. And so it's a way to get involved and network, and also earn referral bonuses if your employer has those types of incentives. Further down, and you'll see this in all the other profiles we'll take a peek at, you'll see current position, the experience. Now you'll notice some profiles, some individuals will just list their title and their current role. And you can see that Dina held several positions at WGU, Western Governors, list of education, and there's not a lot of additional content, but there is some skills listed, etc. Okay, so there's some opportunities in that instance to optimize. But but it's also okay if you're not ready to add more detail in the experience section. There's nothing particularly wrong with that. It's definitely personal preference, okay? Another way that Dina has been involved is reposting something. There was the commencement ceremony, and Dina thought that was pretty cool. And if we click on that, we can see that Dina reposted that, okay? All right, we'll jump into another profile. Carmel Kieran, Director of People Elevation. 419 connections. Carmel and I together have 28 mutual connections. I'm sure that will grow. And the other thing I'll add about what Carmel has here is an about section. Not everyone does this, but it is an opportunity to talk about who you are. Okay, and we'll dive into that a little bit more. And then there's see more when there's a little more content there. It's kind of really about you. A me in 30 seconds, if you will, when someone says, hey, tell me about yourself, right? So again, there's some of the positions that Carmel has held. Lists some skills in some sections, lists a little more detail on what has been accomplished, etc. So another profile we'll jump into, Susanna. And I'm going to back up for a minute. So LinkedIn, Carmel was found by our recruiting specialist, Stephanie Waters. Stephanie's on my team, and Stephanie proactively found and reached out to Carmel, who may have otherwise probably would never have applied to Nightingale College. And so you could experience this from recruiters from other companies, and if you have a profile, right? So that's super cool that we got Carmel that way. Same with Susanna. When I was kind of new to Nightingale College, I've been with Nightingale since February of 2022. And it was sometime in the spring, I believe, or early summer that I reached out to Susanna on LinkedIn. And as a result, Susanna joined our organization. So, of course, that's always very exciting and fun to cover that. And Susanna chose us, a little different banner. So Nightingale provides a few different banners, which is kind of cool. Activity. So again, I love the activity section. It kind of gives you insight into someone that's gone above and beyond just having a profile, and you're able to see how do they get involved in posting about their company, posting things that they're passionate about. There's just so much you can do, right? So Susanna did a repost wanting to highlight here that Nightingale Education Group posted this, and then Susanna reposted it to share it more. And 81 others liked it. And as a result, you can see down here in the bottom right corner, 7 comments and 17 reposts, which is super cool. And you get to learn a little bit more about if someone's passionate about the company they work for. Let me go to another one. Mike. So Mike uses a title that's a little more, has a more familiar tone. Mike is our Chief Collaborator Experience Officer at Nightingale Education Group, but Churro or CHRO is Chief Human Resources Officer, so that's going to make more sense. So I totally get why Mike did that. And shows over 500 connections. Mike and I have 57 mutual. Some highlights are showing, that he has recently celebrated 2 years at Nightingale, which is awesome. Mike also has done his about section, and I think he did a really great job there. And then Mike had a really cool post. The activity, he's got over 1,000 followers there. And I really like what Mike did here. And I want to highlight, this could be you, right? If you're looking for work, you find yourself needing to look for work, whatever happens in life, Mike quickly posted this and knows this individual and is promoting them on LinkedIn. So I think this is super awesome. it got quite a bit of attention, which is great. All right, maybe one more. All right, so this is me, my profile. I'll just jump back here for a second. There I am. So LinkedIn is barking at me a little bit, say, hey, enhance your profile, probably because I am paying for a LinkedIn. We do have some LinkedIn tools on our recruiting team, so it kind of like tells us to do some extra stuff sometimes, but I can click out of that. I like this one, virtual college, actual nursing. That was my favorite banner, so that's the one I selected. Further down, it'll show some different activities. And so I was really excited about this. Let's see if it comes up. Yeah, so that's not the one that I wanted. Apologize. There we go. So I did a post. It's just been a fun year for me at Nightingale Education Group. And you'll notice in my post, you're able to, we're not going to dig into really deep into that, but you can kind of highlight individuals where there's actual links to them. And you'll notice this throughout. So I talk about our awesome CEO, Mikkel Schneider. There's a link to us dancing. You know, I was really excited about the speakers. Susanna did a very similar post earlier on. And I talked about some awards we won at Nightingale, and I got a picture of my team. And then, of course, the hashtag section, which we're not going to really get into today, but this is kind of a way to get your posts out a little bit more. And anything over 1,000 impressions is pretty awesome. Like you're getting quite a bit of attention. So I'm going to go into the analytics on that. It's been 6 days since I posted this, looks like. Reactions, comments, reposts. You can look at the different companies that are looking at our posts. You know, close to 17% are from companies where there's over, you know, between 5,000 and 10,000 employees, so on and so forth. You can dive into, you know, the job titles of individuals that are looking at your posts, so on and so forth. So anyway, that is just a peek at some LinkedIn profiles. I'm just going to stop it there for a second and ask any questions, any comments from the group. If not, that's totally fine. We've got more to cover, but just wanted to pause for a moment and see if anybody had questions on any of those profiles or any thoughts. All right. We'll jump right back in. Oops, there we go. All right, getting started. Ashley will share with you and drop into the chat just some great links. They're simple. You might have to watch a short ad because these links have had a lot of attention, but it's worth it. If you haven't created a LinkedIn account, click on that link that Ashley is providing you. And then there's a link on how to create a profile and how to get started with that. I found this to be really, really good instruction. And then how to make a great LinkedIn profile. So then you can go a little bit deeper once you've got your basic profile set up. You can watch that third link and keep improving it. Okay. All right, we'll talk about an optimized profile, what that could look like. So your profile picture, obviously, people will pay attention to that. Is it wrong to not have a profile picture on LinkedIn? No, but I tell you what, from a recruiting talent acquisition standpoint, as you look to grow your career, recruiters are going to pay attention to everything. They're going to pay attention to your whole profile, the way you write, how you communicate in your profile. They're going to look at how do you present yourself professionally, right? Do you need to be wearing a tux? No. A dress? No. Like be you, right? But you can be business casual. There's nothing wrong with that. But like avoid selfies. You do need to have a head and shoulders photo for sure. Um, keep it professional, right? So no group photos or selfies. On the headline, here's a simple headline. And Ashley, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we also had a link that could be dropped in the chat regarding some headline examples. So feel free for those of you that are participating to click on that link and to just look into some of those examples. But I like this headline example. It's pretty straightforward about that individual. Okay, and it will be right up near your name on LinkedIn on I think the top left-hand corner. There's an about section, and you can tell a short story of who you are. Okay. In fact, I think what I'll do is I will jump back in. Believe we had a profile or two where we had someone that had an about section. Let's see. Yeah. Yep. So here's someone, just some random person on LinkedIn. I like that they had an about section, and it just tells you a little bit about them and what they've done. Okay. All right. So back into optimize profile. Experience. In the experience section, I'm going to recommend that you try not to make it sound like a job description as much as possible, but try to talk about your achievements. You can list one or two or three, but I would make it a little more impactful. And try to, and we can talk about that offline. If you have questions and want to connect with any member of the recruiting team, happy to see if we can carve out some time, to talk a little bit more about that. Or if you want us to take a quick peek at your profile, happy to do that. Recommendations. As you look at the different profiles outside of this workshop, you're going to see that everyone has that opportunity to receive recommendations and to request recommendations. Okay. And so that's something that I would dive into a little deeper. It's just a great way for people to get familiar with, oh, this person really enjoyed working with this person, right? And they had great attitude, they accomplished a lot. It's just a cool thing to have recommendations and to be able to give those to others on LinkedIn. Okay. And then listing, there is a skills section. And I am going to actually jump back in for this one. Just one moment. Oops. I can't get out. There we go. And I think it was Susanna Susanna's profile. I wanted to show how that's completed. Okay. So here's Susanna. I work with Susanna on the CX team, and I'm sad to say that I haven't endorsed her. So Susanna is a fantastic business partner. There's her skills section, and I'm absolutely going to endorse. So she's got her first endorsement from me, as well as some process improvement. And I know that Susanna has done some good there. So I have no problems endorsing that. And if I want to look at all the other skills that Susanna lists, I can do that. And she listed 27. Yep. So there's several more that I could endorse, but I just wanted to do a few of those. Oh, yeah. I've also seen Susanna do some awesome PowerPoint work at Nightingale College. So really awesome way to recognize people. And that's something that's obviously could be grown more for Susanna. And you can request endorsements from your own profile, of course. So let's see, jump back in. All right, build your network. Connect with who? Obviously, colleagues, former coworkers, classmates, others that you know and trust, right? And if you've been at a conference, that's a great opportunity. I was at the SHRM conference in Las Vegas, which is for my profession, the Society for Human Resources Management, and Mike, my boss and CX leader at Nightingale, connected with an individual, worked for a company out of Florida, and he's like this individual's posts, and I've noticed that. And so as I've seen that, I've gotten involved a little bit, and it's just a cool way to meet good people in your profession and to grow your knowledge as you network with others. And how to connect, you can just look them up on LinkedIn. Say, hey, I saw you at the conference. We had a good chat. I just wanted to connect. That's one way. Or, oh, I heard about you through a friend, and they said I should get in touch with you. There's really no right or wrong, but it's nice to send a brief message as opposed to just connecting with the world. And I think it's more meaningful like that. And then after you have connected, 3 simple things: like people's posts, comment on their posts as you see fit, and then share their posts. If you're passionate about it and you think it's pretty awesome, this is how you engage with connections on LinkedIn. Okay. Excuse me. Join LinkedIn groups related to your industry and interests. You can do this near the bottom of your LinkedIn profile. And lastly, I just want to say, go for that conversational tone in your profile so that it comes across more personable to others. This is it. This is what I had in terms of sharing some basics on LinkedIn and getting you started with some of those links that Ashley's provided in the chat. Any questions, comments, or experiences that any of you want to share about your LinkedIn experience so far that could help the group? Totally open to
put it in the comments, but I just barely hit my 1 month mark with my new job, and I'm making about $8 more than I was at my last job. I was found by a recruiter on LinkedIn. They said, hey, your job experience looks exactly like what we're looking for, and you seem like a really great fit. So why don't we schedule you for an interview and see if this is something you're interested in? And I've been so happy with this new job. I was not even actively looking for a new job, and I said, well, I might as well see what they're all about. And I actually work almost directly for Max Cohen, the creator of the Oculus Rift. So that's really fun.
I love that. Thank you for sharing, Mackenzie. Appreciate it. Great example. Yeah. Any others?
I have a question. For my own personal profile, I'd like to hear more, kind of what are your tips and your advice for what you should include in your about section for who you are? Just kind of a quick snapshot of some tips there.
Yeah, I think in the about section, you know what? I think we get into that. Oops, let's see real quick. I've got, nope, that's not the one. It's probably easier to see than for me to explain it. So I'm going to there we go. Yeah, and this one I guess we did take a peek at earlier, but we'll look at it one more time. I like this example. That's a good question. Okay, so here's one about section. I like to think of it as you're me in 30 seconds. Tell me a little bit about yourself, and as you might start like an interview experience. You don't want to say too much because they're going to ask more questions, right? But it's kind of like a little personal ad. And here, what's her name? Joan is telling us, hey, I'm an experienced leader of strategic communications for a large and rapidly growing organization, which implies, that Joan's got to be adaptable. And then she goes on to say, I'm focused on creating pathways to opportunity for working learners, skilled in media relations. So you get to learn a little bit more about some of those skills, even though they could be listed down below. But you're also learning, you could also use the word passionate. Like, I'm passionate about connecting people with people, to make an impact on X, Y, Z, ABC. I mean, it really, you want it to be eye-catching, but like for your ears, right? And also for like what you're it's just that personal ad. I guess that's the easiest way to explain it. And I would say most people, I don't know the percentage, but I'd say quite a few people on LinkedIn are not fully utilizing the about me section. And I think if you're looking for work and you currently are unemployed and that's your goal is to get employed, I would personally highly recommend that you have that about section, but don't drone on and on. Keep it relatively short, a short synopsis of who you are and what you're currently accomplishing or what you're ready to do. Good one. Thanks, Ashley. Any others? Amanda, yes.
Hi, I was just wondering if you are on LinkedIn trying to give a recommendation for somebody, do you want to keep that very brief? Do you want to kind of go in more detail as to maybe personal working connections or working experiences with that person? Or is that meant to be just a kind of thumbs up, high five to the general public on behalf of that person?
Great question. In fact, I don't mind showing some that I've received. And I'll show my section real quick. So, all right. So this is awesome. So you can see that sometimes they're just people want to give you one and you don't even ask for it, which is really cool. That's always, I think, the best way to super organic, where someone's just like, you're awesome, I'm gonna give you a recommendation, and then you have to receive it and like acknowledge it before it becomes part of your profile, right? And so I've got someone that just made me feel like $1,000,000. Hey, they really kind of tooted my horn and for me, and I really appreciate that. It is a little bit longer, but not like super lengthy, right?
Okay, I've got linked up pulled in right now on my other screen because I'm a person that loves to give praise wherever possible, and I didn't realize that recommendations was on here that I could give to people, and so I've got that pulled up, and that's going to be my next task for today is tossing out some recommendations for
Awesome.
Nightingale collaborators. So thank you. Yes, I just didn't want to go make it this big long paragraph when it's meant to be something somewhat brief, but this gives me a much better idea of what it should look like or could look like.
Absolutely. And by and large, most of them are 2 or 3 sentences.
Mm-hmm.
I just know Sarah personally, and Sarah's a talker, and she's great.
I'm a talker, which is where I'm putting myself in check a little bit too. I think where I
and it's okay. It really is okay.
I'll keep it. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And you can see these are all the ones that I've given, down the line there. So I could anyway. It's a great section on LinkedIn. When you think about it, it's kind of like just as powerful and easy, an easy form of references, right? So good question. I'm seeing something in the chat. Dino, can you tell me about yourself and the time on an elevator ride? I like to also include things that aren't really on my CV. For example, create a program at my last job that introduced sexual assault prevention, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I think that's cool. Something you're proud of and passionate about, and you could carry a deeper conversation into the interview, is always good. Well, if there's nothing else, leave it up to you, Ashley.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Derek. I know that I'm excited to run with this and go add some much needed improvements to my own LinkedIn profile. And there were some cool features in there that I didn't even know were there, like the recommendations and the endorsements. So some cool tools there. And just so everyone knows, this meeting was recorded and I'll be posting it on Nightingale Connect. And if you haven't already registered your account for Nightingale Connect, I'm going to go ahead and post a link in the chat so that you can do so. This is also where you can see and sign up for upcoming workshops as well as other career services resources. So thank you all so much, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Awesome. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you, Derek.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.